Hi guys, welcome to the video. This is going to be a short one, but it's going to help you a lot when you're working on revising your exploratory essay. So our topic today is talking about revising and specifically how to write and revise your thesis statement and your introduction and your conclusion. I really like this quote over here that I'm starting with. It says, "Revising hard is painting walls, rearranging furniture, ripping up floors." And I know that your readings have really emphasized the difference between editing and revising, but I think this quote gives it a nice visual. So editing is when you go around your house or your room and you put things back where they go. You're just kind of tidying up and making things neat. That's editing. Revising, like the quote says, is major change. Painting the walls, moving furniture, ripping up the floors, and anything that would be considered really a structural type of change that's changing the feel of the room or the feel of the home. Editing is just cleaning it up, and revising is making real change. I believe that most of you guys, when you have been asked to revise before, have probably done some very simple revising that's more like editing. So you're making any corrections that have either been pointed out to you or corrections that you see the second time around. Maybe you're adding a couple of words or changing a word choice or a phrase here and there. But by and large, most of the time when I see students in a writing course, quote unquote, revising, they're not really revising. And so as you're going to see when you look at the prompt for turning in your final essay, I'm kind of forcing your hand into doing serious revising by changing up what the expectations are for this final draft. So you will not be able to get away with making just minor surface level changes, because what I'm asking you to do in terms of the final product that's going to be delivered, it's different. It's asking you to take your essay and bring it up to the next level. So with that being said, some of the things that I've asked you to really focus on in your revision for the final essay is the thesis statement and the conclusion. So we'll start out here with thesis statements. And I think it's really smart to think of a thesis statement by using this formula. So a thesis statement is always going to include the topic plus the writer's opinion plus why should the reader care. I want to dispel a common myth that a thesis statement has to be one sentence that mentions the key point of all of the body paragraphs, and then those body paragraphs appear in the same order they're listed in the thesis. That's the 5-paragraph themed essay, and most of us learned how to write those in either middle school or high school, and it's a very important thing to learn because it helps you understand how to structure. But as we graduate up into higher level writing, a thesis statement can be multiple sentences. It would be very difficult to fit all 3 parts of this formula into one sentence. You'd have a very long sentence. So don't force yourself into creating just one sentence. Let yourself have 2 or 3 to express all 3 of these items. And I want to provide you with an example. So it reads, "Learning to revise globally is necessary to become a good writer." So in that beginning sentence, we have the topic and the writer's opinion. So revising globally is the topic, and saying that it's necessary to become a good writer is the opinion. Without understanding this aspect of the writing process, writers are unable to reach their full potential. That is telling the reader why they should care. And that is really the crucial part of the thesis. I think the phrase thesis statement is a little bit representative because it's not just a statement or a fact that you're putting out there. It's also, in a way, your hook. It's the reason for the reader to care about your topic, and it gives them a reason to keep reading past your introduction. So all 3 elements are important, but definitely you want that last element of making your reader care to be really well done. And now we'll take a look at conclusions. So first we'll talk about how to avoid conclusion catastrophes. This is what not to do. Don't restate your thesis. That's another thing that many of us have been taught or trained to do in our earlier education. And again, there's value to learning how to do that, but now that we've graduated into a different level of writing, we're not going to restate or repeat or rephrase our thesis statement in the conclusion. Do not summarize your essay in the conclusion. That is definitely not needed at all, especially in a shorter piece like what we have here. Your reader doesn't need to be reminded of what probably took them 5 minutes to read. You don't have to re-summarize all that. There's no point. And please do not use the phrase "in conclusion" to begin your conclusion. Now, we see what conclusions are really about, and as the image that I just shot off the screen said, it's about drawing conclusions. So this is not about making statements per se, it's about looking forward and extending your idea. So imagine that your piece of writing is part 1 of 3, and you don't know what parts 2 and 3 are going to be quite yet, but you know that you're going to have something to follow up, that there's going to be questions to answer. That's the second point there. So you can ask those questions. You can suggest some type of research that you think should be done, or you can even include some food for thought by asking a rhetorical question. And it's usually smart to include a call to action in your conclusion. Not every paper will have a physical call to action. So, for example, if you're writing a paper about the need for people to donate blood, your call to action is pretty obvious. You're trying to get people to get up, get out of their homes, and go donate blood. In a paper like ours, where you're exploring a topic and kind of examining different ideas, the call to action for most everybody is going to be similar. It's going to be to encourage your reader to either keep thinking about this topic or to do some research on their own, possibly to do some writing of their own and join in to the conversation. So your call to action is a little more subtle, less literal than something like go out and vote or go out and donate blood. But you never want to put forth a piece of writing and then have your reader put it down and never think about it again. That's a pretty worthless piece of writing and not a good use of your time. And it's really good to direct our reader into telling them how we want them to carry that piece with them going forward. So as I said, today's video is very short, but I think it's extremely useful and will help you when you're revising for your final draft. So that's all we have for today, and thank you guys for watching.